Hello everyone, this is round 4 of ChessDojo Open Classical Tournament. I'm playing against Project Alekine 90-minute game with 30 seconds increment, and in this one we have played this Carlsbad structure, and if you are at least somewhat into chess you have probably heard of it, and you may either, I guess, love it or hate it. The structure is famous. It was played a lot in 19th century, I think in 1920s or 1930s, and it looks quite simple with these two pawn chains, but it's deceiving how complicated it can be. This game is a good example of how to punish some mistakes in this opening. If you're not familiar with this structure at all, I'll just give a short intro, and I suggest you to take a look at St. Louis chess video or some other Carlsbad structure videos, because there's really lots of theory and it's quite interesting. So, basic idea in this pawn structure is that white has his pawn chain that is pointing at black's queen side, and black has pawn chain that points in the other side, obviously. Now that directs where you should play. You can notice that white has two pawn minority on his queen side against these three pawns, and that black has some more space on this side. So, in general, white will want, after he develops, white will want to attack with these two pawns and probably create a weak point and attack this pawn after the exchange. So this is backwards weak pawn, while black has more space here. So black can transfer his pieces, usually this way, and try to checkmate the king here, and now we have two bishops. That's the basic idea. And the other thing is here that black has these two squares to plant his knights, while white has these two squares. And black has really bad bishop on c8 that he wants to get rid of. And if black can trade both bishops, in general he should be safe by planting the knights here, and he should have enough counterplay. Let that be enough for the intro, and let's go into the game. So the game starts from Queen's Gambit. This is exchange variation, and unlike, for example, French variation, this exchange variation of QGD is considered one of the best strides for white. It's not a dull draw, but it's actually the variation in which white has long sustained pressure and chances to win. That said, if you are not familiar with it, it's not very fun to play with black. White is now threatening to win the pawn, so we defend the knight. Here, in this position, white opens up his bishop. He avoids playing knight to f3 for the moment, and I'll tell you why. And black has the chance to play bishop to f5, which maybe I should have played, but I didn't look in this opening for a long time, and I forgot about some of the ideas, and I wasn't sure what to do on this queen to b6 annoying move. This is often played also in Caro-Kann. It turns out that in this variation, black can simply develop, and taking the pawn is not good, even picking up the second pawn, because just after the castle, and the game continues, I'll turn on the stockfish, but basically stockfish here says that black is slightly better. And I presume that with the good play, black will at least win back one pawn, probably have strong initiative. So this is something maybe to look at. I avoided playing bishop f5 for the moment and just solidify the structure going into Carlsbad. Here black plays bishop to d3, the best move, now taking away f5 squares. And in this position I knew that knight b to d7 is the best move, but I was too trigger happy and I played h3, chasing away the bishop like a useful move, because I expected him to play queen to c2, double attacking the pawn. But this is actually a slight mistake, because it weakens g6 square and basically cancels the idea to play g6. The problem is that after h3, it's quite hard for black to untangle and to exchange this bishop. And the basic, let's say, school idea to get rid of this bishop is to play knight to h5. Now the bishop cannot go back, with the idea, for example, to play g6 and go back and follow up with bishop to f5. And now we can exchange these bishops. This is a typical idea in this opening, but I forgot about it because I saw it ages ago. Another reason why h6 here is bad is that it makes this play, for example, hard. I'll show you this. Here white often wants to play something like this. I'll just play any move. Okay. Now, typical maneuver in these positions for black is to play the knight here, so he can get closer to the king and try to checkmate him. But since h6 was played, now g6 is impossible because white can win the pawn. So that's another reason why I don't want to play this move. Okay, going forward, black obviously retreated, and I was again triggered to happy and played knight to g4 with the idea to exchange bishops. Idea is good, but it's too early and it's better to develop. So this is a slightly dubious move, but it's not like a big mistake. And after exchanging bishops, I finished one part of my plan, and second part of my plan is to change light square bishops, and that proved to be very hard. He pushed me back away, okay, and he develops his knight to e2. Now this is very interesting idea. A typical move is knight to f3 and plan to play b5 or a6 b5. This is considered like not too dangerous for black, and black in general can hold out to draw with proper play. So the people in early 20th century came up with knight to e2 idea, and we'll see here. The idea basically for white is to try for this push, and this is possible because the knight is now not taking f3 square. I was not completely aware that basic idea behind knight e2 is to play this f3 e4 plan, although I saw it as a possibility, but I thought it's a bit weak. So here I tried to provoke f3, thinking that it will weaken his side, which is true. Maybe safer move here is first to play rook to e8, but okay. Okay, now I don't mind this exchange, and the bishop has to go somewhere, because I'll now plant my bishop here and I'm fine. I exchange one piece, I have less space, so it's good for me. And my opponent knew this, so he made more pressure here. Now he's threatening to win the pawn. And tempting move is something like f5, but I wouldn't suggest it. Beginners are often happy to play this. It really weakens up lots of these squares, and it will take some time for white, but I think he will be much better here attacking now weakened king. So in this position, I have this obvious move, strengthening my knight, and he plays f3. Now, I mark this move as dubious, but I probably shouldn't have. It's the logical move, logical continuation to white's plan, but apparently the best move is to exchange here. Bishop takes, and after this exchange, black has this nasty move, but white can create a ton of pressure on these pawns, and apparently in this position, I'll just play out the moves. Stockfish found this. In this position, white is having strong pressure on this pawn, while black will try with some kingside attack, but Stockfish prefers white quite a bit here. It's almost +1. Now in this position, I made quite a big mistake. I took some time, and I considered that this is quite good for white, which it is. White is better here, but not way too much. So in the end, I decided to play knight to d6, and this is a typical mistake in these positions, because the move has the idea to transfer here, but this is not a reliable square for knight. He can be easily kicked, and this knight to d6 actually walks into this idea, and it's very dangerous. It's basically losing a tempi here. You can also see similar mistake by Grandmaster in St. Louis game. In that game, he placed knight here and dark square bishop here, and then after this, after the threat of e4, he had to retreat back basically to e7, admitting his mistake. So quite a big mistake here. I should have taken the pawn and continue play. White is slightly better. He'll get his e4 and there's nothing basically black can do about that. And in general, white will get his e4 and just black needs to be prepared well. Now white defends his pawn. And this is tough position for black. It's hard to find moves. He also double supports e4. Move for black here is already something like knight to e8. And it's something, it's similar move that GM played in St. Louis game, but he lost the game and you really don't want to be in this position with these backwards moves. Here I expected e4, of course, so I went with queen to c2 with the idea that if he plays e4, which he has, to take this way. Now the best move for him is to build up more and then storm the king, but he went for e4 immediately, and now notice that I eye his f6 knight, so I have this move, so I take the pawn, and he of course saw the discovery, he has to take back, and we end up with this position, in which white has this strong center, but black is still fine. So I was thinking here, white has this strong center, but his king is a bit weak, he has only 2 pawns, and I'll jump in and cause some problems and be active, and hopefully that should be enough. So I went with queen to g6, which is a good move, but even stronger move is queen to f5. This is a theme here that I wanted to mention, and that is to look for weak squares. And here, this pawn is weak, and we have this diagonal. By playing here, black is creating lots of problems for white. It's quite hard for him to move without losing a piece. Queen here is not that dangerous because now this pawn is not attacked. This is like a shorter move, and I made similar mistake later. In this position, white plays e4, which is an excellent move. He has now this square to go into, and my knight has to go away. I tried to be smart and set up a little trap, of course. I expected him to see it. I'm attacking twice the rook. The problem with rook to e8 is that it weakens f7 square, which is now potential target. It's on light square and it can be attacked multiple times. Also, after rook to f1, I have to move my knight, and when I move the knight away, he can gain the tempo, then he can double the rooks, and he'll keep attacking, he'll pile up here. Now he has this threat, and this is quite awful position. This is already winning for white, it's plus 2 points. So rook to e8 was not good, the better was just to move the knight to the center and try to hold out. But white didn't spot this idea, I guess, I mean, it's natural. Here white plays knight to d2, which I found weird, and it's far from the best move. And he was probably annoyed by my threat. For example, if he plays something like this, I have this threat here, winning the pawn. So he hated it, I guess, and he wanted to chase away my queen. I was considered this as a natural move, but of course he doesn't want to play it until I move my knight, and in this position black is now actually better in winning the pawn. So it's not easy to play as white here, and the best move is again rook to f1, and he went with this idea. Now I have check and I can centralize my queen, and now it's not easy for him to chase away my queen. He cannot move the knight because this pawn is weak. Here I make my second blunder. I go knight to h5. Now I was trying to make it really hard for him to play because now he again cannot move the knight. Now I have this check, nasty, and also I have ideas here to exchange pieces. And also in my last ChessDojo game about the one about time management, I went with knight to d5, exchanging knights and losing all my advantage. While in similar position, knight to h5 was winning, but I had that knight covered with my bishop, so he was quite strong. And the problem here is that this knight has no squares and it's undefended. He didn't punish me immediately. Notice that immediate g4 doesn't work. It's actually a blunder. I have checks and black is losing here. I can also just move here. And in other variations, if white tries something, often this bishop hangs. So he went with natural rook to d1, which is a good move, solidifying his bishop. He also indirectly defends d4 pawn. And I finished my development. Now I want to go this way and try to attack more. After which he played b3. This is just a bad move. I see people defending their pawns too much. The game is obviously hanging on thread here. My queen is in danger. He has kingside attack, and the knight is weak, but he defends his a2 pawn. It's weird. I had similar thing in another ChessDojo game, and for example, as in that game, same goes here. He can simply just do anything, and I cannot take the pawn. It's a blunder because now the bishop is trapped. I went with rook to d1. Now I am using all my pieces. This is probably the best I can do here at the moment. And now he finds rook to f1, which is an excellent move. He moves away, actually, from this discovery. This is very dangerous position for black, and I didn't realize it. I should have... What's his threat? He doesn't actually threaten anything on this diagonal yet. I was thinking that this is strong move for him, bishop to c4, and it is strong move, but I completely missed that now I don't have these squares anymore. And I went with bishop to d4, trying to create some more threats here, but as he took away these squares, he hit me with g4, and now I'm in big trouble. I was completely surprised by this move. He spent 15 minutes here, I think, calculating, and we talked after the game, and he basically thought it's over, it's GG. And he's actually right. White is completely winning. It's plus 3.7 here. So I went on a long think, trying to see if I can save myself somehow here. The first thing that popped on my mind is, since I'm attacking this square, to play queen to g4, and now if he's too happy to take the knight, I have this checkmate. Then the other natural move for him to defend this square is this, but this is also a blunder, and white is actually better here now. Then I noticed that white can simply defend the square, and this is strong move. It's not the best move, but it's strong one. And now I still have the same problem, and the knight has no squares, so white is winning here, the knight for a pawn. Still, there's lots of play for black because his king is weak, but white should be winning. After this, I went to look for the other options, and later I returned, and later I also noticed that simple queen to d2 is winning, and that made me decide to play the move that I play, because I mean, this is quite easy to find, so I decided to go with another option. Stockfish also says this is winning, so white has at least 3 winning moves here. For that reason, I spent most of my time looking at this move, and basically I tried to calculate as much as I could, as deep as I could, and from what I could see, I was losing and I was right, but all the lines are quite complicated, and it's that complexity that helped me save the game. Now in this position, white has 2 options. He can either take the rook and the knight, and I checked, of course, both. I was looking a bit at this, and if he takes the knight, which is quite a big blunder, I was planning to take the pawn, and now I had some threats here, and I was hoping that I could do something, but actually this is a mistake, and it's one that I want to show you. By far the strongest move here, and it's winning for black, is rook to g4 is something that a stronger player would probably have found, and it's completely winning because now there is no defense to this square, simply. The knight cannot go to either of these squares. For example, knight here will just take. Knight here, it's checkmate, and that take was also checkmate. So the knight cannot move, it's checkmate. And if the rook tries to move, for example, to do this exchange, then we have this check, and it's followed by checkmate. So the rook cannot move, the knight cannot move, and the bishop cannot do anything. Basically, white is busted. I think the best move is to sacrifice the bishop and the queen, and white is still losing. So that is how dangerous this position is for white. Now, if he takes here, it's also complicated, and that's what happened in the game. I have this check, and now I try to calculate as deep as I could. I have this check, and the critical line is rook to f2, after which I have this move, now threatening checkmate here. And here I saw that he could play this move, and I thought I'm losing here, basically. After this diagonal is closed, I cannot really do much because the bishops will get rated and I have to move. something. I have to move, for example, to save my knight, and after this exchange, I simply don't have enough pieces to win. So I thought this was losing, but I had no other option basically, because, as I said, queen to g5 was completely lost. Here I also thought that rook to h2 is winning for white, but after queen takes g4, it's really hard to find a safe square for white king. He cannot simply block the check, it's checkmate, so he has to run away. And now white king would like to run this way, but we can stop him. And a simple rook to e1, and I think black is winning. Yeah, it's -2 for black. It's not simple, but black has lots of chances here. Okay, so back to critical line. After rook to f2 and taking the pawn, the only way for white to win is bishop to e4, and white is winning. Any other move and white is losing. I'm not sure what of these lines my opponent spotted, and he was afraid that he would lose, so he opted not to play rook to f2, but the king has no square, so he has to go back. And now I was happy to repeat because I thought I was losing here, and he obliged, and so we repeated the position. And with that I saved the draw. So quite a tough game, but very instructive one. I think I learned a lot. I'll suggest you here that you also look at my next ChessDojo game. It's also about Carlsbad structure, and that one was better because I had experience from this one, and I played it from white side. I decided to torture a bit my opponent because I saw it that it's quite hard to play for black, and I went for basically this line. If you play this opening, I think the game will be very interesting to you. Thank you for watching, and see you.